Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to My Goodness, Mission Paranormal. This is just coffee. Here, a place for me to share my stories of paranormal with you, and for you to share your stories of paranormal with me. Well, I'll start this off this morning. I'll tell you a little bit about the mission that I own. The mission was born. The mission was built in 1876. It originally was a train station. When the train moved in, the town moved from the river to the railroad tracks. In 1922, the building was sold and turned into a beauty parlor and barber shop with apartments upstairs. In my building today, I have two entities that stay here all the time. One is the barber from 1922, and he also cobbled shoes, and that's what he does every day down in the basement. He cobbles shoes, or at least he believes he's cobbling shoes. He keeps to himself for the most part, but he also, while he was living, had an affair with one of the shampoo girls. And that shampoo girl is the other entity. She's on the main floor where the beauty parlor was here, in the same room actually that I'm in right now. And she hangs out, doesn't do a lot, but she definitely does not like certain women. Certain women who come into this room get things thrown at them off the wall. She's appeared in photographs with people. She likes to mess with people, but she's not an evil spirit. And I've learned to coincide with the spirits that live here in my building. And that's really what I want to encourage people to understand, is you can coincide with just spirits living in your home. It's not necessarily something to fear, but it can be something to fear. It can be something that's not just a ghost. There's many other things out there. There's poltergeists, there's demonics, and a host of other things that can be dwelling in your home. And I'd love for you to share with us what's going on with you. And maybe I can help. That's really what I'm here for, is to help, if I can. And my goal is to talk to the spirits and to try and get the spirits to cross over into the light. And I find that a lot of times they're too afraid to cross over into the light, that they're afraid of judgment. So they refuse to go. So they stay in this purgatory, this limbo world between the living and the afterlife. So they stay in this purgatory area that's guarded by demons. And the demons try and keep them from communicating with us, but they still do. I myself have had open heart surgery and had an afterlife experience. I was dead and I came back. And I had been given knowledge of things to come, which have all come true. But I also think that I was giving a connection to the other side. And I was giving a task. My task is to help the spirits, the worthy spirits, cross over. And that's what I try and do. But I also help people deal with and get rid of things they don't want in their house, things they shouldn't have to deal with. See, what a lot of people don't understand is people don't have to have died in your building for it to be haunted. That's not a prerequisite. But buildings that a lot of people have died in do tend to be haunted. But there are brand new buildings built that are haunted. The spirits can pick any place they wish to dwell when they're trapped in this limbo, this purgatory. Well, I'm hoping someone will come in. I'm hoping some people will come in and talk to me, tell me their experiences. I'd really, really love to hear your experiences. But basically, because I was dead and I came back, I think the spirits are drawn to me. I have a connection with them, and it's easy for me to communicate with them. I don't necessarily like communicating with spirits, but I do it because it was something that was asked of me by God. So I do it. And I try and help in any way I can. I try and ease the spirit's suffering and hopefully lead them to cross over into the light. But there are a lot of things you can do in your home to protect your home or your building. You can use sage and prayers to cleanse a house. But this technique is only temporary, lasting 3, maybe 6 months, sometimes less. You can use salt. Different kinds of salt work differently, but they all seem to be fairly effective. Sea salt works excellent. Black salt works excellent. You place this salt in the 4 corners of your home or building and in the windows and doorways, and it acts as a barrier. And this tends to work fairly well until the salt goes away. There's a lot of things we can do to protect ourselves from the other side, or the in-between side, shall we call it. It is still the other side to us, but they didn't cross over all the way. And there are a lot of spirits trapped in limbo, trapped in between. And I truly blame that on religions telling people finite. You know, if you don't do this or if you don't do that, you're going to go to hell. And that puts fear in people. And the reality is we make our own hell. We make our own hell with our actions and the things that we do. And when we die, that carries over, because the other side is a realm of thought. It's a realm of thought where the things we think become our reality. So if you're an evil person and you think nasty mean things all the time, that's all you're going to live in. But I'm urging you guys to tell me your paranormal stories. Tell me what's going on in your house, or your friend's house, or your building that you work at. We're dying to hear your stories and dying to help if we can. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I do all the time. Is I help people deal with haunted houses. So come on into the chat. Tell me your story. Let me know what's going on in your life with the paranormal. But this is all about no judgment, no anything, just having coffee, talking, seeing if we can help. Seeing if we can help you deal with the paranormal things that are going on in your life. I'm only here to help. If you don't want my help, that's fine with me. But this is about paranormal and about paranormal only. I don't want other stuff discussed in this live session. This is about the paranormal. This is about helping people who are trying to deal with something paranormal going on in their life. Don't feel like you're the only one, and don't feel like you're a weirdo or there's something wrong with you because paranormal things are happening in your home. You would be surprised at how many people are dealing with the paranormal every day. Dealing with ghosts in their house, dealing with things moving, dealing with shadow people, dealing with succubus. People have to deal with all kinds of entities. Demonics are the worst. Demonics are the hardest to deal with. You see, demonics were never really alive. They didn't have a physical body, and they're jealous. So what they want to do is possess your physical body. And if they can't have that, then they want to destroy you. Destroy everything in your life. That's their goal. Demonics are extremely, extremely hard to get rid of. They can be dealt with, and they can be gotten rid of, at least from your home. But we can't get rid of them off of their plane of existence, because that's where they exist at. We could only block them. There's a lot of different techniques we can do that block them from your home or business. I would say the most misunderstood entities are poltergeists. You see, people think that poltergeists are what they saw in the movies, and they're not. They're not at all. Generally, when you have a poltergeist, it means someone in the household has some type of latent abilities. Could it be telekinesis? It could be clairvoyancy. They could be a psychic medium, but they don't know or don't realize they have this ability, and they suppress it. And when you suppress those types of abilities, it works in your subconscious, and your subconscious creates these shadow people to express this psychic energy. And these shadow people take on a life of their own. And that truly is what a poltergeist is. It's a manifestation from a living being's subconscious. And that's so misunderstood. And then when you explain it to people, they think it's their fault. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault that their subconscious manifested this. But the easiest way to deal with it is if you feel like you have some type of psychic ability, if you know things before they happen, if you have heightened instincts, then learn how to use these instincts or these powers and deal with them. You have to learn how to turn them on and turn them off, and how to control them. And once you do that, your subconscious will not create these type of entities. Still waiting for someone to come in and talk to me and tell me their story. I got an interesting story from a person named Kathy. She told me she lives in, I believe she said, Texas. And she has an entity. I think she has many things going on in her house. And her son seems to be affected. They have shadow people. He wakes up with shadow people standing next to him. He says they come out of the closet in his room. His stereo will just come on full blast in the middle of the night. These entities do seem to be targeting the son. And I believe she said he's 14. And that's boy turning into a man, time of puberty. And notice we didn't mention shadow people. So my suspicion is that she's dealing with a poltergeist. But then she has other things going on in her home that sound demonic, that sound like something oppressing them. I wish I was closer. She lives in Texas, and I live way up here in Minnesota. I wish I was closer. I would go and try and help her. But I have talked to some other paranormal investigators that are closer to her and will be reaching out to her to try and see if they can help her. I'm not just one. I know many other paranormal investigators and ITC researchers across this country and many other countries. And we all trying to share information. We try and pull together the information that we learn. We share it freely because we want to help people. People just do not understand how often this happens, how many people are affected. But all you have to do is think about, in the history of mankind, think about how many people have died. And then out of those people, think about the ones that either didn't know about to go into the light or were afraid to go into the light, afraid of being judged. It's trillions and trillions of people. And they're all wandering this earth, looking for a place to habitate, to live. And a lot of those are evil people. A lot of those are just wonderful, nice people. Just like the living, there's good and there's bad when it comes to spirits. If a person was evil and greedy and A nasty person his whole life isn't going to change when he crosses over into the next life. So they're going to be evil and nasty, and they're going to figure out all the ways there is to interact with the living. Some ghosts like to torment the living. They get a thrill out of scaring them. They also get energy. When we are afraid, our bodies create adrenaline, and they feed off of energy, because once we die, that's what we are. We're beings of energy. And that's why they're seen as balls of light a lot of times, is because that's the raw energy traveling. And then once it gets to a place, it can manifest itself into what we perceive as a physical form, or the form they were when they were alive. But most of the time, spirits travel in these balls of light, these balls of energy. And as you know, energy can never be created or destroyed. It only transforms. And that's what we do. We are beings of energy. And when we die, we transform into a being of pure energy. And sometimes we get lost on the path. And that's kind of my goal, is to redirect them on the right path. Try and help them as much as we can. Well, it's going to be awful boring if all it is me talking. I would really like some interaction. I'd love people to come on into the chat room and talk with me. Tell me what they got going on. Maybe they don't believe. Maybe they don't believe in ghosts at all. A lot of people have that way, or feel that way, until they have an experience. And some people accept that experience and deal with it, and some people live in denial. Explain it away. And believe me, every time I go into a paranormal investigation, the first thing I do is try and debunk it. Because I don't believe every place I go into is going to be haunted. That's just not the way it is. Matter of fact, I'd say it's close to 80% of the places that I investigate, I've debunked and found a logical explanation for what's going on. And it wasn't paranormal. But that still leaves 20%. 20% that were unequivocally, definitely haunted. That had spirits there. And I've been dealing with these spirits for many, many, many years. Even before I had an afterlife experience, I did paranormal investigations. But I think having the afterlife experience has made it more a part of my life, has made me sensitive to walking into a building and pretty much knowing what was going on. I can definitely tell when I come into a building and it's got demonics. If you have odors in your building or home that just pop up and they're nasty odors, they smell like sewage, or they smell like sulfur, you probably got demonics. See, other spirits don't manifest these things. If you're waking up with scratches, that's usually demonics. And they usually leave 3 scratches behind. Because 3 is a sign of the Trinity. And when they scratch you in 3s, they mock the Trinity. So what do you think? Do you think your home is haunted? Do you think your business is haunted? I've seen little shacks that were haunted. I've been in haunted caves. Spirits, demonics, they can exist anywhere. You could have a haunted park. You could have a haunted field. There are a lot of those in places where wars were fought. The battlefields, the spirits still remain. People capture them on pictures all the time. But I'm dying to hear your paranormal experiences. I'm going to get some coffee. Hold on just a moment. I'm just going to reach over here and grab my coffee. Excuse me. A lot of people ask me, do you watch these shows? Do you watch the shows on TV? Like, Ghost Hunters was real big for a while. You got Ghost Adventures. And I've watched them. I think that they sensationalize a lot. Excuse me. I think they sensationalize, and they hear one little sound and they over dramatize. But there are some very good shows out there. The Dead Files is an excellent show. That has 2 people mainly involved. An investigator, an ex-New York cop, and a psychic medium. And they investigate it separately, and then come together at the end of the investigation with their conclusions. And Amy is the name of the psychic, and I've worked with a lot of psychics, and she is really, really good. She picks up on things that are going on right away. And believe me, they try and fool you. A demonic, like for instance, a demonic will always try and get you to trust them. And a lot of times they do that by pretending to be a child. They love to pretend to be a child because you let your defenses down. Because you feel pity for the child. You feel, oh, why is this poor child stuck here? I have to try and help this child. It's all to get your defenses down so they can get in. And believe me, you don't want to leave an opening for the demonics to come in, because they will consume your life. Oh, God. Coffee is so good. I don't know. I take my coffee with a little bit of cream and some sweet and low. It's exactly how my father had his coffee, and my mother drank her coffee black. And her opinion was, why would you put anything and ruin your coffee? Why would you put anything in it? Well, I like it this way. Suppose I could tell you about a place I did, a place that's on my channel. It was the brewery. I did that a couple of years ago, down the block from my mission. Well, I call it the brewery, but it actually was a mercantile for many, many years. And if you don't know what a mercantile is, it's a store that sells, it's a country store that sells just about everything. Mercantiles were the Walmarts of their day. They were small stores, but they tried to carry everything people needed. From clothing to food to housewares to household appliances. And this building was bought by a guy, and he was going to turn it into a brewery. And he defaulted on it, and the building went into great disrepair. And people would see things moving around in there, and they asked me if I would go and investigate this building. And what I found was the original owner, his name was George, came through and told me that he was being oppressed by a demonic spirit that was also there. And we decided to do a cleansing on this building. Myself and my team went in with sage and did prayers throughout the entire building. We sprinkled every room with holy water, cleansing this spirit out of this building. And then we approached George, the spirit that was being oppressed, and we offered to call for the light for George to see if George would move on. But George stated that he was happy now, that he was no longer being oppressed by this demonic spirit, and that he wanted to stay. And that's one thing we don't do, is we don't force spirits to do anything. We ask them and we help them, but we don't force them. We will force them out of your particular home if we have to. But we can't make them move on. We can't make them do much but leave your home. But we accepted the fact that George still remains in the brewery, and of course a cleansing only lasts for so long, and we warned George that that demonic may come back. And I believe that the demonic did come back. Someone new has purchased the building, and every time they try and do something inside the building, remodeling, they'll come back and their work's torn down. Why is that? Does the demonic not want them there? Or is the demonic angry because it was forced out of the building for a while? Interesting story, and very close to home for me. But that building has paranormal activity to this very day. They don't want someone to come in and cleanse it, so I don't. The new owner stopped his renovations on the building and has plans to just get rid of it. And I think he's afraid if I do an investigation, it'll raise attention to the building and no one will want to buy it. And maybe the next owner will want help and want to get rid of the demonic that suppresses the brewery. Well, it doesn't look like people are going to come in and chat with me today. That's what this was about. Hopefully I wanted people to come in, tell me their stories. I'll be back again. Hopefully you'll get your stories together. You'll come in and join me. But for now, I'm going to let it go. I want to thank all of you for joining me. The ones that did. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you know of a place that's haunted, let us know. We'd love to hear about it here on Mission Paranormal. But until next time, this is Mike Goodness, and I am out of here. We'll talk to you later now. The heck?